Hi, I'm Mark Anthony and thank you for watching Music News.
Mark Anthony, it's great to see you. How are you doing today?
Thank you, brilliant, absolutely brilliant, thanks.
Good.
Yeah.
Your debut album, Reckless Caution, is released on the 31st of October.
Certainly is, yeah, really excited about it. It's been, it was a project that sort of came about by accident really. Around the end of November 2014, it was just a case of getting into the studio, recording loads and loads of tracks for about sort of 9 months or so. And at the end of it, we sort of went back into our own kind of busy lives and didn't do anything with it, and then revisited it in the material in June this year, 2016, and then decided to put an album out in August. And well, we announced it in August and it's going to be released on October the 31st, so really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and this is with the producer and Echo Belly bassist Oliver Radio.
Oliver Radio, yeah.
So was everything recorded with him?
Yeah, everything, yeah. It was when the group I was in, the Medz Collective, was when we kind of wound down our sort of writing, recording and sort of performing commitments. And after a couple of months of having some sort of downtime, I was made aware that a producer called Oliver Radio, who lived and worked just around the corner sort of from me in North London, was looking for artists to produce for, and got in touch with him. And yeah, literally within about a month or two, we just started recording tracks. And as I said, my goal was at the time just to record tracks for the sake of recording tracks. I was kind of missing the studio, I wanted to record some music. And yeah, everything was recorded at his studio. And yeah, I was really happy with the results of that. And as I said, when we kind of revisited it after, must have been about a year of the material just kind of there, dormant, not really doing anything. Yeah, we kind of decided between us that we were going to put an album out. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened, really.
I mean, what's behind the title then, Reckless Caution?
Reckless Caution. Well, at the time of recording the tracks, I was quite reckless in terms of just putting any idea in my head down onto the record. You know, it was it's like the record was a compilation of any idea that was in my head or perhaps in Oliver's head at the time. We just all put it down and we were really reckless with our ideas in a good way. And then when we revisited the material in June this year, we were quite cautious in terms of picking which bits and pieces would actually go onto the album. And yeah, and I sort of went away for a little bit out in Vietnam, and I thought, Reckless Caution, And then the idea just stuck with me, and then decided to just stick with the name Reckless Caution.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like a complete unit, is it?
Yeah, I like words or terms that are sort of opposites of each other. So obviously reckless is at one end of the scale and caution is at the other end of the scale. So I just thought that the two words sounded good together, and yeah, I just decided to name the album Reckless Caution.
Excellent.
So it just seemed to work.
Yeah. How would you summarise the album yourself personally then?
Wow. I would summarise it as being a very true album in terms of the songs on the album is a true reflection on my life. So you've got tracks on there like an 80s vibe that was about me growing up in the 80s. There's a road called Brownswood Road, which is the road I grew up on, that I lived on at the time, and there's a lot of experiences about sort of living on that road. And even tracks like London City, which I released back in May, and that was just me observing the London sort of rush hour. So it's a very real album in terms of, you know, experiences I've either gone through or observed. Not necessarily deep experiences, some of it's quite tongue-in-cheek. And but in terms of musical genres, so diverse. You know, there's ska tracks on there, there's, you know, a bit of Britpop, there's sort of hip hop and rap, and stuff that's a bit poppy on there. So really diverse. There's a ballad on there called I Still Miss You, and there's quite a melodic tune at the end, which is a track called Thank You. So very diverse, very diverse.
I really enjoyed Thank You actually. There's a nice sort of wrap up.
Thank you. Yeah.
Please, just before the bonus tracks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So thanks. Yeah, but that yeah, it was really diverse, which, you know, really reflects me as a person in terms of my musical tastes as well.
Yeah, I mean there is loads on there, as you say, rap, electro, pop, hip hop, ska, indie, acoustic, rock. But where does your heart really lie if you had to choose one of those areas?
Oh God, I think the first music I really got into was sort of hip hop. So back then it was bands like the Beastie Boys and Run DMC and the Roots and the Tribe Called Quest. So it was bands like that, and then and then I really got into Queen, which is really at the other sort of diverse or the other end of the musical spectrum. Queen, Madness. In the 90s I got into the whole Britpop scene, so you know bands like sort of Oasis, Ocean Colour Scene, Blur, and since then I've had my Motown phases, funk, so diverse. At the moment, what am I listening to? I'm listening to a lot of electro type stuff at the moment. But I think the first music I really got into was perhaps hip hop and sort of rap.
Excellent. I mean, inspiration-wise,
yes.
Where have you gone?
Inspiration. Through the years, somewhat a band that inspired me, or a frontman that inspired me was Freddie Mercury, people like him, to I think a lot of the sort of bands like that I've just mentioned, like Madness, Queen, and I think just through the years, through the different genres I've kind of sort of floated through, the bands that would have been kind of around at the time and the people that have sort of inspired me really.
And a great little album cover too.
Oh yeah. The album cover was designed by a Hungarian graphic designer called Iniko Toth, who I made contact with in June, after myself and Oliver decided that this sort of secret project we were working on was going to be an album. We contacted Iniko and gave her a bit of a synopsis of what we wanted to do, and I gave her some ideas about how I wanted the album cover to be, because I didn't really want sort of myself in a sort of picture form on there. So I asked her if she could do something similar to perhaps like Banksy or something like that, and she sent through some ideas. And literally the album cover was one of the first ideas she sent through actually, and I just loved it. So it was really, my kind of Banksy influence I think really showed on the album cover, and I was lucky enough to get my brother to do some photography on the in the album sort of CD inlay sort of leaflet as well. So thank you Iniko and my brother Julian. So it really came out well. I was really happy.
It did, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, how different are things now when you were part of the Medz Collective for you musically?
Wow, I think the Medz Collective was a great experience, but it was, you've got to do a lot of compromising when you're in a group. So I think some of the musical genres I played with in this album weren't particularly musical genres that I would have perhaps messed around with the Medz Collective. With the Medz Collective, it was very much more sort of hip hop, R&B, soul, a lot of the genres that would fall under the urban umbrella. We had sort of a bit of garage in there, and a little bit of funk, but it was very much compromising, because you're trying to sort of satisfy 4 people, because there was 3 members of the group, but then you've got a 4th sort of person who's a producer. So very much a compromising experience, which was it was great at the time. It taught me a lot at the time, but with recording this album, as I said, where there wasn't any goal, or I didn't know if it was going to be an album or an EP, I just thought I was just going to put every single idea in my head down, regardless of genre, or whether it was a slow song or a fast song. And it was really nice to evaluate all of the songs. It wasn't even at the end of the process. At the end of the process, we kind of went away, and then after a bit of a gap, we then looked at the songs, and it was really nice, because there were some songs we hadn't heard in a long while, and we thought, oh god, that was a good track, or and it kind of brought it all back. So it was really good to look at it like that. So it was very different.
A completely different perspective when you leave it for a while, because you can get lost.
Yes.
Once you start mucking about too much.
That's right. And I think for other reasons, when we were with the Medz Collective, we were continuously trying to meet deadlines. So it was a case of, all right, you need to get the album out on this day, or get the EP out on this day, or we've got a show on such and such a day. And when I was recording this particular album. Didn't have any other distractions. It was literally myself and Oliver. You know, there on a 9-month jamming session, really. Yeah, we were just getting as many ideas down, and we had no pressure. There was no one to say we had to get it all done by this date, or, you know, oh, we need to be ready for this. We didn't have a clue what was going to happen with the material. If the material wasn't good, it wouldn't have even seen the light of day. So yeah, it was a very, very different experience from when I was recording with the Medz Collective.
Yeah, I mean, and now things seem to be slotting into place. So you're about to go out on the tour supporting Tony Morton?
Yeah, Tony. Next Thursday, the tour starts in Manchester. We're doing Manchester, Birmingham, and London for now. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. And got to say, Tony is a guy that's always, you know, been good to sort of me. And when I was with the Medz Collective, you know, he sort of got us out to support him at his show about 4 years ago, down at Club 229, which went really, really well. And yeah, I was really, really flattered to be asked to do the tour. It was a bit of a bolt out of the blue, literally just sitting in my garden, and he, you know, he just messaged saying, "Oh, do you fancy sort of doing some stuff at my solo shows?" And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that. So it should be a blast.
Yeah, he's a top guy. He was sitting right where you are.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. But I can't play the piano as good as Tony does. But yeah, really cool guy. So I've got to give some props to Tony.
Excellent. And then you're a Finsbury Park local.
I am. Yeah.
What's the best thing for you about this area?
Oh wow, the diversity. I think when I grew up in Finsbury Park, near the sort of border of Stoke Newington, on a road called Brownswood Road, which, as I said, there's a song in the album, and it was very much a diverse area then. And although there's been different changes, you know, within the area, what I like is that it has kept its diversity. So you can walk from one end of Finsbury Park area, you know, when you're sort of around like Blackstock Road, just walking down all the way to like the top of Stroud Green Road, and the amount of different pockets of areas and types of areas there are, and, you know, types of people. I really like the cultural mix. And that's what I like about London, full stop, really. That's what inspired me to kind of write the album, you know, about London, full stop, and, you know, the areas I kind of grew up in.
Yeah. I mean, Reckless Caution includes 3 previous singles, an 80s vibe, London City, as you said.
Yeah.
I Still Miss You. What can we expect as the next one?
I don't know, actually. I think all my energy is into putting the album out at the moment, and I, you know, after the album, who knows? At the end of the day, I'll always be doing music, you know, so I'll always be recording music. I'll always be, you know, trying to put stuff out there. As long as people appear to like it, I'll just, you know, keep on doing music. But in terms of plans for a next single, not sure at the moment. Watch this space.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. For somebody just getting into Mark Anthony, which 3 songs would you say, check these out, these sum me up as an artist?
Wow, that's a really good question. I think I'd say an 80s vibe, because even though I like the musical styles on there, it's quite sort of fun and tongue-in-cheek. I like to keep my music sort of quite upbeat. I like it to be sort of fairly positive. London City, I think London City really exposes my sort of Britpop rock kind of side. And there's another song on the album called Scar Train, which I'm quite fond of, which is a track about ska music, and I absolutely love ska music. You know, I've had the pleasure of meeting some really good ska artists and seen a lot of ska artists play throughout the years. So I'd say those 3 songs. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you very much.
To say to Music News watchers?
Thank you for the support, and please continue to support the music. And my official website is at markanthonymusic.net. So yeah, thank you. Stay tuned.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Great stuff. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. Came out all right.
Yeah.